Thank you, Dr. Tim. Looks like you were having a good conversation going there.
Well, I think for the summary for your notes or whatever, it would be I think the biggest part of the conversation had to do with the difference between boundaries and manipulation in relationships. So have a wonderful show.
Thank you. So welcome everybody to the second hour of Mindshift Radio. Today is Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023. And our call-in number is 563-999-3581 and press 1. And that puts you into queue to talk to us. And we would love to hear your comments and questions because that makes this your show. And I see Doug's hand still up, but I believe that Dr. Tim was talking to you already, but I'm going to turn on your microphone and just make sure. How are you doing, Doug?
I'm doing okay. Yes, he was. I was part of that conversation.
Okay. Very good. Well, I will mute you back then. And I see Susan has her hand up. So we'll give Michael just a minute to dial in. But how are you doing today, Susan?
I'm doing okay, and I don't have anything to say except I hope Doug is still on because his question.
And I'll turn his mic back on, too.
Oh, yeah. It was wonderful, Doug. Thank you so much. I've been wrestling with a similar thing, and the investment, the personal investment, for me, I feel as if I can't help myself, but I'm going to manipulate. I haven't gotten to the point where I've done what Diederik and Michael Ryce say to do, really, really, really get into a state where it's all about me. I'm totally neutral. I can drop my hopes, drop my goals, drop my expectations, let everything go. And then I think I could set a boundary and stick to it. And I do in many instances in my life and in my marriage. Oh my gosh, you laugh to hear some of the things Tim Bingham and I have negotiated. And we both haven't left. We're still here. But to really, really, really want something so deeply, and so that practically everything you do, you could see as a manipulation, because you're just not ready to let go and leave. I mean, that's what I thought you were kind of driving at, and man, I feel for you if it is, and if it isn't, I'm projecting totally, and I'm in garbage city with my own stuff. But anyway, I love this.
Name the fear. Name the fear. Susan?
Is that yeah?
In the situation you're working on, Susan, and Doug, I'm glad you're here. I don't know what you were talking about, but maybe we can go into that a little bit. But the hit that I get, Susan, when you talk about, with all that emotion, all that energy you had, is that behind the inability to do what your soul wants you to do, what your choice is in carbon-based memory, there's a fear.
Oh, yeah.
And when you forgive that fear,
okay,
then you'll be able to have you'll have choice in that arena.
Yep. Well, I haven't given it up. Okay. Haven't.
So what's the fear about?
Doing a lot of being shown up to be as worthless as I think I am, and I know that isn't true. So I've got a lot of healthy self in there, looking at this little sick globule in the center of myself. And
you're right back to your first power person message.
It is. And the tools
it's the governor of all of it. That's what runs the world.
Yeah. Oh, but it comes right down to it, and I still don't do it. I look, I watch, I don't do anything damaging. I know enough to know not to do that, but I'm still very stuck. Lots and lots of journal writing. So
how about a mind shift?
You're right. Okay, you gave me one before, and it fell right into the journal writing. Okay, mind shifter.
Well,
Doug, I didn't mean to hijack this about Doug.
Well, I think Doug was complete. You called in, and then you asked for Doug to come on, so I don't think you hijacked it. I think you're right here, and hey, we're all in this together.
Yeah. Okay, mind shifter, I'm ready.
My suggestion for a mind shifter would be my power person, blank, fill it in with Mom or whoever.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
Always embraced me fully as one of the sweetest, most wisdom-filled people in her life.
Ooh, that would be lovely.
Okay, so that's the first thing to go on the opposite side. So now we want to look at why you would say that would be lovely, because if it were true, you just said, that's right. So now what are the specifics that need to be resonated into awareness with that? And when you let go of that, when you go through that one, then bingo, everything will change. Kind of like night falls day.
Yeah.
So breathing with you. Are you breathing? Of course you're breathing.
Totally, I'm breathing.
Completely, right down into the deepest parts of your belly, right?
I am now.
Oh.
Thanks. That was an excellent. You sure hit the road running, Michael. You just barely got on the line and hand out a mind shifter. Very good work.
Just doing my job. Having been there, done that, I got the brain cells for it.
Yeah.
So what's happening with your breath? And where's your mind now?
I'm thinking I better get off the phone. My breath stopped, and I've got to get out of here.
So is that in response to the mind shifter? Or is there some reason you actually have to get out of here?
No, it's the mind shifter. I feel as if I'm suddenly on the hottest hot seat.
Okay. Great. So then I'd write that down on the right-hand side. And then would you like to stay on the hot seat? Or would you like to get out of here? Well, you know, whatever fits and works. I'll support you.
That's very nice of you. I think I'll get off the hot seat. I'll get off.
Okay, well, maybe Doug will get on. How about you, Doug? Do you want to jump on the hot seat? Maybe Jeanie will.
I guess. I mean,
Then what's your fear, Doug?
My fear is being
nothing
alone.
like the one that Susan just illuminated.
Oh, nothing, not at all. I think it probably is. Yeah.
Being alone, yeah.
Being alone.
Is that under your fear? Is that part of your fear, Susan, too? You think?
What, Doug?
Are you saying that's part of your fear also, or not?
Oh, I think the intensity and is probably similar. The situation's very different. It has not to do with my husband. It really does have to do with a power person, a substitute, that I've stuck in that role at the moment. Hope to get a handle on it.
Okay.
Well, we'll breathe with you and hold the space.
Thanks.
I was attempting to bring the note page up. And what was your fear again, Susan? And the reason I ask, all of this goes along with the person who I just had a session with. And their fear is more like Doug's, of being alone and being lonely. what was yours again? That you wouldn't be
being unworthy,
or being
unworthy, unacceptable, disgusting. There are lots of adjectives. Gross. And of course, the aging process doesn't help that because I don't have youth and agility and beauty. Not that I thought I was beautiful, but now when I look at myself as a younger person, I think I was pretty good looking. But I only had those feelings lately when it's different, you know. So anyway, yeah.
You know, it's interesting. You bring up a really powerful point there, is that many things that occur over which our trauma is activated and we think have to do with the thing, when we realize it has absolutely nothing to do with the thing, and as you just said, you look back later and you go, oh, gee, I look pretty good. Why couldn't you have said that 40 years ago? Because you had a thought disorder because you had a thought disorder that said, I am broken, whatever the variations on the theme were.
Yeah, that's
and if
probably
you look
true.
over the period of a lifetime, there's so many things that at the moment seem so terrible, and now you look back on them and they were absolute gifts. Were they terrible at the time? No, but I had a reality in my mind that said they were terrible. So what was terrible was the reality my mind was outputting. And when I realized the thought disorders behind that, I bring them forward to conscious awareness and let go of them, then all similar traumas just disappear because they were never there, except as constructs of the mind.
Yeah, that's true. I can feel the truth of that. Yeah, I was never available to accept who I was in the sick part. I mean, I had so much health and did so much and I was a good teacher and a runner of rehearsals and all sorts of things. So there was a lot good going on, which I think I've acknowledged all the way along the line. I remember Eckhart Tolle saying, you know, some people who really have a bruise in the center of their souls, they still are very highly functional in different aspects of their lives. And he mentioned teachers. They step into an ego state. Tim Bingham still says that. He hears me teaching my little fitness classes, and he says, wow, you just like you're gone because you're so into it. You have disappeared. And I love my students, and we're just connected for that half hour. I think, let me stay there all the time, but I don't. And the other side comes in again.
So my offering would be that the exact reverse is true. You didn't disappear in those moments. They're the moments when you showed up.
I get that. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And then the false self, the one that Yeshua said, in order for you, awesome being to live, you, power person-based, non-being, trauma-based person, have to die. So all those moments where the world says, oh, you disappeared. No. That's when the real being showed up. That's when you were on purpose and you were rocking.
Yeah.
It's that other self that has to go.
Yeah. It's amazing that all self-consciousness, small self-consciousness, disappears during those times. And
because you weren't in small self.
Yeah. I love that idea.
You were in being.
I never thought of it that way.
You were in being. That's
nice.
And
well,
that's why. Go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking about how Doug kept struggling to find the words to say what I think. I mean, I was projecting like mad into his speaking. What I thought he was trying to say, I was feeling very deeply. It's like I can't even speak to this particular person at the moment because if I say anything, I'll be manipulating. I haven't gotten to the point where I can step away from wanting acknowledgement. I'm just not well, so I just watch it. I think, holy mackerel, this is powerful stuff. do a lot of journal writing, which consists, sometimes I'll go for my long walk and I'll just talk. I'll talk. I'll let it all fall out, and then I look at what I'm saying, and I think, whoa, this is amazing. So there's processing going on, but I'm still not well enough to deal in real time with a real human yet. That's the closest I've ever come to saying anything about this. So the mind shifter is right on, though. It's, to me, my mind is absolutely not true, the mind shifter, and so there's a lot of writing on the other side of the paper to be done. But meanwhile, I was just so into what Doug was saying, and appreciating how brave he was to try to put what he wanted to say into words. Anyway, so it was just a great show. It was a good discussion. What were you going to say, Michael?
Michael, I think you're talking, but you're not coming through your phone.
One of the reasons for the Purpose, Personal Power, and Commitment worksheet, which is being on purpose, we offer that to people and use that, is because one of the ways of bringing being into expression, like you're talking about with your classes and how you feel about, I'd offer you weren't loving your students at all, you were just there as the presence of love. And it's when we're on purpose that we're aligned. That's when, you know, all of the aspects of the self or the expression come into alignment, and being just flows through the whole thing. It's when one of the other aspects that needs to be aligned, whether it's our thoughts, our words, you know, regulatory speech, whether it's filters in the mind, whatever it is, that's out of alignment and inhibiting us from being in that. But notice the place where you experience that true state of being is when you're on purpose.
Yeah.
Doug, does that ring true for you?
Well, yes. There was something you said that particularly stood out. Now I can't get my mind wrapped around those words exactly, but wish I could. Yeah, but
Which part of the discussion was it?
That you weren't being in your being versus when you are when you're in your being, you're not self-conscious. That's like, oh yeah, that's pretty profound. That's quite a bit of feedback that's available to us if we're aware of it, you know, and just an important thing to note.
And just to also note, and this to me is an opening for more inspiration to do that, to express that, is that notice in what Susan just shared, her husband is so used to her not showing up that when she shows up, he says, "Oh, you're not here anymore." And that's, you know, that's indicative of how much we're ruled by that false self. And the world, it's the world's game to support that false self. It's like what the whole world story is about. That's why every worksheet starts out with I, and there's a blank there for your name, who am love. To really begin to identify with it. Go ahead.
Another way of saying that is to say that we're so used to being in our non-being selves that we're having relationships all the time with another non-being self from our non-being self, and when either shows up as beingness, that's an unfamiliar situation.
Right. And the empowerment of that showing up puts people into a healing crisis.
So for one to show up in that puts the other into healing crisis, right? So
self or other. That
Michael,
higher level of vitality will tend to move whatever's blocking the full expression.
Okay,
I don't
so
get
showing
what
up.
you're saying, Michael, and it's important. Say again. Sorry, Doug. I don't want to miss
All right,
it.
go ahead.
It seemed important.
So remember that in step 4 in the worksheet, what do? I tap in to the most powerful, clearest presence of love that I can. I'm calling my true being into my physiology, into my mind, into my emotions, into my perception, into my world. That's the vitalizer. And there's nothing we can heal unless we have the vitality to heal it. One of the things that scares people away from expressing who they are is because when you bring that full level of power forward, everything unlike it starts to shake loose, starts to move, whether it's inside of one's own mind or emotions or literally body, diseases, or in a relationship. Everything that is unlike that new level of vitality and aliveness that shows up starts to shake loose. And that's when a lot of people are like, well, let me just go back and get, we should have a drink, Oh, let's go out and have a smoke. Let's do something to lower vitality so that we don't have to deal with this. Look at Yeshua. He comes in, he by his own admission hasn't reached the pinnacle yet. So let's say in a world that's running at maybe a level 2 vitality, he comes in at an 8. And everybody goes nuts. And what do? They kill him. Why? Because the vitality, the presence of that much love means everything and everybody around whatever is going on starts to splash up to the surface for healing. And because people don't know what healing looks like, because people don't understand the healing process, because people don't know how to be responsible for the output of their own minds, what do? They turn it toward the source of the vitality, the object of attention of the vitality. And let's get rid of it.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, we've all been talking about it. We've all said that's what we want. But I don't want to look at this generational hate and murder and vengeance and terror and trauma. So let's get rid of what brings that up in me. What we're looking to do with this show, with this work, is to make it safe for the most horrific things that anybody carries into the airwaves with us to come to the surface for healing.
God, Michael, this is incredible. This leads to a huge question, and it might not even be appropriate on the show.
Of course it is.
There are people on. Well, okay, it's here. There are people on Facebook saying that Trump is Jesus Christ, and I'm thinking maybe he is. Maybe he's showing us the Antichrist, the underbelly that needs healing. Is this the next big gift? I mean, boy, talk about blowing the mind.
Well, actually, if you go to, I think it was maybe the first or second show after the 2016 election, that's exactly what I said. Not that he was Jesus Christ, I wouldn't even conceive of that, but that his expression is showing everybody. Go back, and I think it was the first or the second show after the election. Take a look. He's showing everybody their darkest underbelly. And if everybody who's looking at their darkest underbelly, their rage, their projections on him or anybody else, for that matter, if they were to be able to own that and recognize it with their own, he would be one of the greatest gifts humanity's ever received. Maybe right up there next to Yeshua. Yeshua do the empowerment. He resonates directly the most vile and vicious that most people carry in themselves.
Right.
And gives permission for it.
Well, there is a woman who channels Jesus, who I think she's the one who said it takes a very brave person to choose to be a Hitler on the planet. They're doing us a great service. And I understand what she's saying. I don't spend any time thinking about that. but this is similar.
I wouldn't go there. No, I wouldn't compare the two. The two for me are not in the same arena. No.
Well, you could just say
I don't
Trump.
think. Pardon me?
You could just say Trump, that she would say that about Trump, that he's a brave soul, bodiless, and now he agreed to come here to show us something. That's giving him an awful lot of credit for being an incredible soul.
That would be, well, we're saying that that's a conscious decision or choice made by that individual. And my take in observing the behaviors is it's anything but a conscious choice. I think it's I often stand in great compassion and totally purposely extend love in his direction because I can't imagine how much pain he's in. So I would call that the accidental expression of mass hate, fear, rage, guilt, whether it's Hitler, whoever would express like that. I wouldn't put them, I mean, it's possible, I guess. I've even said that before. Well, maybe they're a fully conscious, realized being, but I don't think a fully conscious, realized being would be expressing those kinds of attributes in any way, shape, or form.
Well, I feel that way too, but I do
feel for
the
both
question
of them.
open.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for going all the way over there. But
what fun!
I had a friend. I had a friend who wrote a book about evil. Her name was Marilyn Adams, a priest, an Episcopal priest. Wonderful book.
Right.
And I knew her while she was alive. She died young. But I said to her, how were you able to write that book? The most insightful book. And she said, because I know myself. What she was saying is, I think I know at least almost the amount of darkness I have in myself. And I appreciated her for that very much. It was a struggle for her. It's sort of like St. Augustine, who struggled so hard against what he saw as his own darkness. But I think that's part of being in a separate body. We aren't connected enough to know that we're connected. And we're not connected to love because we have bodies which help us feel separated from one another. And anyways, this has just been on my mind. The full spectrum of what we're capable of includes what Trump can be and do. I wouldn't do those things, but I can conceive of them. I can feel some of them. So it seems almost an insurmountable task to just be love, truly stay there.
Well, my offering would be that's exactly what the ego wants you to believe, that it's an insurmountable task.
Okay.
And notice that all you have to do is your purpose and you're there. You just told us what it looks like and how it came about.
Whoa. So it isn't a matter of, it's a matter of disappearing.
No, it's a matter of appearing. It's a matter of appearing. Again, remember, in order for you to live, being the truth of who you are, the true, total, complete presence and resonance of love, the you that you think you were has to die, and that self has to go. So no, it's a matter of showing up and coming into expression so that the false self disappears. And remember that the word evil in Aramaic relates to sin. Remember, sin's the archery term.
Yes.
You fire at the bullseye,
Yes.
You miss the bullseye. You're still on the target, but you miss the bullseye, and the scorekeeper yells sin. If you miss the target altogether, then the scorekeeper yells evil. Like, you miss totally. So for a human life, for a human being to function as love and come in rage and abuse and criminality is evil, meaning it's simply off the mark. And one of the things I would love to do is just take a moment and think about your friend who wrote that book, even though she's not in her body, and invite everybody for a moment to just be a space for her, to free herself from the belief that any of that she saw in herself had anything to do with the truth about her. To offer her,
she would love that.
That's what, I mean, what do we carry? I mean, what was my or your or Doug's great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather doing? Who knows? Who knows what any of our ancestors, we just need to look at the history to look at some of the absolute disgusting, despicable, horrific things that have been done within family systems, within communities, within countries, within cultures, within how foreigners are treated. So that's, when the scriptures talk about look to the lives of the fathers, for ours are but a shadow of theirs, they're saying start looking at what's in you, because that's what you're carrying around. And when a circumstance shows up that resonates that 10th generation back, that was what the world would call the epitome of evil, that was in your bloodline, then that's going to come forward in you. And when it comes forward, you're going to do one or two things. You're going to fall unconscious in it, and you're going to bring it into expression and make it part of who you think you are, or you're going to go, holy crap, what is this? I'm ready to be finished with this one. If this inclination is in me, if this energy is in me, I'm ready to process it out and be done with it, not just for me, but for my whole family system, Mitakuyasan, for all my relations. Because we all carry that around in us. Remember Francois Fenelon's quote?
Oh, yeah. I think of him a lot.
Yeah. I mean, he laid it out. But
he did.
To me, the thing to really understand is, well, all of that stuff is in us and tends to rule us, run us, and appear as us. When we get into our true purpose, who we really are shows up, and that stuff takes a back row seat. If I choose to do my work, I consistently, persistently dissolve the capacity in myself for those lower expressions and build this instrument, and a part of the instrument is my genes. If I love listening to, let's say there's a particular symphony, I hear it's going to be on, X FM station tomorrow afternoon, and I dig out my $10 transistor radio and I turn it on. Well, I'm going to get to listen to that symphony. But then, if I turn on my $100,000 stereo system and tuner, I'm really going to get to listen to that symphony. Now, they're both expressions of the same originating energy. But what comes through the $10 transistor radio, that would be the equivalent of the person who we would call evil, or the person lost in sin, would be like the $10 transistor radio. What comes through is pretty tinny and pretty crappy. Even though I like the essence of what's behind it, if I'm literally listening on a $10 transistor radio, I'm not going to probably get a whole lot of enjoyment out of it. But if I take that same signal, that same state of being, and I bring it through my $100,000 stereo system, man, I am immersed in heaven. To me, what this work is about is we each have an instrument called a body-mind unit that includes our genes, and the idea is to upgrade the instrument so that it's the equivalent of that $100,000 stereo system and gives full expression to the full truth of what we each are as human beings. And that ultimately our purpose is to be here to support each and every other rather than the competition game to support each and every other in their full expression. And any reality that carbon-based memory, remember 666, the Antichrist, that which goes against the presence of active love in me, anything in carbon-based memory that comes up can tend to inhibit that unless I'm aware, oh, here's another piece of my puzzle that I can throw away. Here's another thing I need to move through. And Doug, what I hear you saying, and I didn't hear any of your conversation earlier with Dr. Tim, but just from what little you said, there is a state where one is alone. And of course, that state is nothing that can be forgiven. It's just the state. And then there's a construct of the mind called loneliness, which is there to be forgiven. And it's that construct of the mind and whatever thought disorders are behind it, and who knows, the gamut of loneliness could be from, isolation, suffering, attack, death, starvation. It could be a myriad of energetic patterns or thought complexes that go into creating that state. And so if one's identified with that state or that construct in the mind, then there's going to be a whole lot of trauma in that loneliness. It's got nothing to do with being alone, except that alone triggers the construct in the mind that holds the suffering, loneliness. And when we choose to let go of suffering, and suffering is nothing more than a construct of the mind, then the game changes. So my input would be that, it sounds like the next piece of work that's up for you is that of forgiving loneliness. And I've got a mind shifter for that if you'd like it.
Okay. Sure. I'm ready to write it.
One of my favorite things in the world is to be isolated and alone, where I know that I will probably not even see another human being for the next half century. Does that resonate?
I'm just finishing it.
Okay.
Well, my first impression from this is that it teaches me something. It teaches me something about the aloneness sphere, which is, I mean, that's the first impression. Then of course there's the next, but this would not be as scary as what it shows me is that part of my loneliness, fear, and pain is to do with feeling that being alone suggests my incompetence, or is a testimony to my incompetence. Like this
so that's
particular
a thought.
Situation. Yes.
So notice you categorize that as a feeling. But notice you categorize that as a feeling, and it's a thought, and it's a thought disorder that opens up and points you into I'd offer the next big piece of work you need to do.
Which would be something to do with being competent and confident.
This set of thought disorders that you're incompetent. Was that again? And we're probably back to if we gave you and Susan about 2 minutes to talk, we'd probably be back to the exact same thought disorder. That's a power person message that you're broken. You're incompetent. There's something wrong with you.
Right. Yes. It yes.
And that's just
yes,
a thought disorder. And notice how it even impacted your physiology, like closed your throat up.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I noticed. It does that. See, being in the world alone, where I wouldn't see another human being for half a century, doesn't resonate the same pain because there'd be no one around in that situation to testify that the reason I'm alone is because I'm incompetent. It's being alone in the presence of the world. That's what I noticed from the mind shifter right away. Because in my worksheet that.
Okay, let's put a comma at the end of that mind shifter.
Okay. Yes.
Except for the procession of people who will show up to testify about my incompetence. And we got a mind shifter for everything.
Show up to testify of my incompetence? Who will show up
about my incompetence. To testify about my incompetence.
Okay.
Michael, you have an evil chuckle.
You mean
an evil
off
what?
The mark? I've missed the chuckle. It was like Mr. Snidey Whiplash's laughter. And listen to how it's opening Doug's throat.
Closing it. Yeah. It's like
I can just see with you. Go ahead.
My upset almost inevitably triggers a cough. It's like that. It's like if I'm coughing, I know I have an issue.
Yeah. And what your body's saying is, I'm trying to get rid of this. Like, it's time for me to be done with this.
Oh, that's a new way to look at it.
Yeah, my body's like saying, get this out of here. This is like right at my core, and I need to unload it.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness.
So notice where the focal point of that cough is, where the root of it is, and that's the tissue that the energy you need to process through is probably stored. So is it in your upper chest? Is it in your solar plexus? Is it down in your belly? Where's the cough coming from? Is it up in your throat? Is it up in your sinuses?
It's in the upper chest. It's in the bronchioles. It's right above the lungs. It's in my upper chest.
Did you have bronchial problems as a kid?
I don't remember that being a persistent problem. I had sore throats and ear infections all the time. But, yeah. Now, my mother, on the other hand, has bronchial issues. That's when she gets a bronchial infection, it can be really bad, and she used to get them quite a bit. She hasn't lately, but
so you might be dealing with a generational pattern there.
Yeah.
How did Mom do with being alone?
Oh, I don't think she likes it at all. Absolutely, I know she doesn't like it. I know. does not like it. Yeah, that brings up pain for her a lot.
Yeah.
It's excruciating for her. She'll call me up. I'm alone. You know, if
so
those with her are not there.
Yeah, so a gift you might give her is to just kind of get centered, tap into her energy, and see if you have her permission, and do a worksheet on this issue as though you were her, speaking as the first person. And you may find that will take you to the depth of what this is about in your body. And alleviate both of you of the burden.
And what was the lesson?
Alleviate both of you of the burden.
Oh.
So, Miss Susan, were you just seeing Snidely Whiplash back there twisting his mustache as he laughed?
No, I just like your cackle. Every once in a while, you know you've hit pay dirt and you're enjoying yourself. That's what it sounds like.
I love it.
Great.
To me, it's so exciting when those files open up.
Yeah. I tell you. There was an amazing reading in the service this last Sunday. I just found it because we are very familiar with the sins of the fathers will be visited upon the sons. In this,
right.
Ezekiel says, the word of the Lord came to me. What do you mean by repeating this proverb concerning the land of Israel, which is, the parents have eaten sour grapes and the children's teeth are set on edge.
He's great.
And,
yeah.
Yeah, and Ezekiel hears, as I live, says the Lord God, this proverb shall no more be used by you in Israel. Know that all lives are mine. The life of the parent as well as the life of the child is mine. It is only the person who sins that shall die. Well, I talked to my rector about this, and he said, well, yes, it's no longer considered a sin if the child bears some of the patterns of the parent, but the children are still inheriting the bad things from the parent. I thought that was an interesting observation, too. So, anyway.
My take on that would be those who truly connect to the full active presence of love, all of that is going to be processed, so they're not going to be stuck in that anymore.
Yeah.
So I'd hear that as a conditional statement from love.
Mm-hmm. If we really believe that we are gods and that our children are gods, that would take care of it. But we don't really believe it yet, I guess. Or we come in and out.
Now, when you're saying gods, is that G-O-D' or G-O-D-S?
Apostrophe.
Yeah.
That is the proper use of the apostrophe.
What's your intention about the difference of those two, Mike?
Well, one would be if we are in total alignment with the Creator, and the Creator by definition is love, then we're at full load vitality and everything's going to be processed out of us from the generations. So that would be the apostrophe S. If it was just G-O-D-S, then that's we're proclaiming that we are the Creator. So are you in full alignment, which could be expressed in that Hebraic, Aramaic way of thinking? Are you in full alignment with the Creator in that you are the Creator's possession. You are owned by, therefore held by, therefore protected by, therefore healed by the presence of the active love of the Creator. If you could open fully to that, all of your genes would be instantly transmuted.
Right. Yes.
But if you're striving to be the Creator, then you've got a problem.
Go ahead and expand on that one a little bit more. I mean, yes, obviously, but let's talk about what is your problem? What are you doing? What's happening there? The ego is declaring itself. Is that not akin to maybe what Satan's original scripturally proclaimed, at least story error was? You know, saying I am. His personality is God.
Well, remember that Satan in Aramaic is not this dude with the red suit, the tail, and the pitchfork that men have made up to terrorize little children, but Satan means the resistor, one who misleads. Yes, they're identical. The Antichrist, 666, 6 electrons, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, carbon-based atom, carbon-based memory, stores painful realities, and held there, we're locked into it. When the product of what's stored in the mind from the past comes forward as the big ego self and I am God, then good luck.
Right.
So yeah, it is. I mean, they are one and the same. The non-being self
says we are creators.
Yes, we are creators, but we are not the creator. There's a difference.
Okay, good. I certainly know that.
Yeah, and I think all those stories line up in a way, or can be seen as lining up in a way. I mean, I get this information from my upbringing as a Mormon. I don't know how I don't have the brain cells for is that exactly in Scripture? Traditional scripture, but Satan saying so Satan's saying I'm God, I'm bigger than God, I'm bigger than God. That's sort of like ego saying I'm bigger than God, I'm God. That was his original error that led to him being cast out of heaven in the Mormon theology. And then there's, of course, the definition of Satan going to and fro, back and forth upon the earth, which is the creation of ego, and carbon-based memory, and the buildup of all of that, saying the same. To me, they all fit together. That's everything you said.
They're one and the same.
All right.
That would be my take.
And, of course, what we want to reaffirm that is to be so aligned with the flow that we become the children of God by the fact that we're open to the flow of and aligned with the flow of and become an agent of the divine force.
Taking our proper place in the game.
Mm-hmm.
The gate is open, Rockma is open, the gate is open, and the flow of active present love is unlimited. But then when we get into that non-being mind, that non-being self wants to be the creator, wants to write the laws, wants to become a lawmaker.
Sure does.
Rather than understanding and honoring the way the energy system works and stepping up to the plate as active present love and processing through whatever is moving that is unlike love. So it sounds like for Susan, self-deprecation is the reality that blocks the truth of being. And Doug, for you, it's self-deprecation that blocks the truth of being. All those people that would stand around and tell you what's wrong with you, why you're incompetent, why. And they're just constructs in the mind, carbon-based memory, reflecting generational patterns of constructs. And, my observation over 50 years of working with people is there are some variations on the theme, but the primary one that takes us out of entheos, enthusiasm, literally meaning in God, that, you look at the newborn, you look at the child, you look at how many times that child comes back tapped into love and enthusiasm, and it's just awesome. And the thing that knocks most out of it is a message from the power person about you're broken, and with that brokenness comes rejection. And then a whole series, you might want to just review the chart again on the physiological effects of emotional suppression. And literally those thought disorders instilled in the mind, locked into physiology, are what literally destroy the body, cause all disease, suffering, and death. I started a book actually 20 some years ago, and it's sat on the shelf since then, but the first 2 chapters of it are available under the video and audio collection on the website. It's called The End of Suffering. And while the written work isn't there, way back 20 some years ago, a minister at Unity in Sarasota, Florida, and I did a weekend workshop where we read those 2 chapters. The book is written in the first person by Yeshua, speaking to a character, much like Why Is This Happening to Me Again is written by me, speaking to a character. So in the book, I'm the character, and Yeshua is correcting me. It's called The End of Suffering. You might just go and give those 2 chapters a listen. Really spend some time with those 2 chapters, because that's what it's really all about, is putting an end to literally the mind energy that's based in something other than love. And its gravitational field of trauma is so powerful because it's been going on for so many generations. Again, they even have that metaphorical story in the scriptures about this whole band of people who got lost in this 35 square mile desert for 40 years. And to get out of that desert, to get out of this state, what had to happen? The old generation had to die off. Not everybody in old physical bodies, but the root of the word generation is generare, which means cause. All of the causes held in the mind based in hostility or fear, messages from the power person had to be removed. And they're generational. They've been going on for a long, long, long time. And they're, again, the mass, when you think of it in terms of atomic physics, the mass of the thought disorders based in that has such a gravitational pull that most people never are able to even step back from it. That's why we so often talk about, developing the ability to become the thinker apart from the thought, the feeler apart from the feelings, the actor apart from the actions, just to step back and observe what your mind is doing to you. And then apply forgiveness to remove it. Get out of the desert. Head to the promised land, conscious co-creation.
Right.
Yay.
Yeah. Woo, yeah.
Awesome. Miss Susan, any other thoughts for you? We're getting down to the wire.
No, thank you. I'm in the car going to a doctor's appointment, so I'm a little distracted. Thank you so much for fielding all this.
All right, well, we'll hold the space, and you have a blessed one, Doug. Appreciate you. Everybody have the best year yet of your eternal life.